Good morning, children. This is 8th standard science class. In our previous video, we have started changes around us. Now, you can observe the answers for the assignment. Answers for true or false. Chemical reaction is a temporary reaction. False. It is a permanent reaction. Physical changes forms a new product. This is also false. Physical changes do not form any new products. We know some reactions like folding papers, drying out cloths are physical changes because they do not form any new product and they are temporary. And some other process like digestion of food, turning milk to curd, etc. are chemical changes because they are permanent, irreversible and forms a new substance. Today's video we are going to see about the conditions required for a chemical changes to occur. At first we will see chemical reactions can be done by physical contact. Dear children, could you remember some of day-to-day activities like burning of matchsticks on rubbing? Iron materials turning to reddish brown? Why? How these changes happen? Students, these changes are due to chemical reactions by contact in physical state. You know the physical states? Solids, liquids, gases. Now we will see some more examples for this physical contacts. Burning of wood. When dry wood comes into contact with fire, it burns with the help of oxygen to form carbon dioxide, which is given out as a smoke, and it also forms a new product of ashes. Another interesting example. When quicklime, that is calcium oxide, reacts with water, it forms slaked lime, that is calcium hydroxide. You can observe the mixing of calcium oxide with water. Slowly it produces heat and mix to form slaked lime. A milky white slaked lime. நீர்த்த சுண்ணாம்புன்னு தமிழில் சொல்கிறோம். Now we are going to do a small activity. We need 2 non-rusted iron nails and test tubes, water and oil. Put the iron nails into the test tubes and pour some water in test tube number 1. And in the second test tube also add some boiled water with the iron nail along with some drops of oil. Now you can close both the test tubes with the cork. Leave this setup for few days and observe the changes and record them. Why the iron nail gets rusted in test tube 1? Yes, it is in contact with air and water. From these reactions we can conclude that certain chemical reactions take place only when the reactants are brought in contact with each other in their physical state. The next condition for the chemical reactions, that is based on solution of the reactants. Children, do you like coffee? How it is prepared? Yes, as your mother does. When milk is mixed with decoction, the color of milk and decoction changes due to chemical reaction. Like this, when we mix two substances, that is reactants, in their solution form, the chemical reaction take place to form a new substances, the products. For example, take small amount of solid silver nitrate and sodium chloride in a test tube. Do you observe any change? No. The reactants in solid state have no reactions. So what would you do? Now we have to dissolve the same reactants in water in separate test tubes. Mix both the solutions. What do you observe now? Silver nitrate solution reacts with sodium chloride solution to form a white precipitate of silver chloride and sodium nitrate solution. This is the white precipitate of silver chloride. Our third condition, that is chemical reactions based on electricity. Can we live without electricity? Electricity is very essential for our living. We can use electricity for cooking, grinding, and charging our mobiles, laptops, watching TV, etc. Isn't it? Do you know electricity is used to carry out chemical reactions? Yes. By using electricity, many chemical reactions are done. How do we call these chemical reactions? The chemical reactions which are processed only by the passage of electricity are called as electrochemical reaction or electrolysis. You know the combination of water. Water is made of hydrogen and oxygen. Now we will see some examples for the chemical reactions based on electricity. First one, electrolysis of water. What does this mean? When electric current is passed through water. See the apparatus. These are the two electrodes are connected to a battery. When the current is passed through the water get decomposed, dissociates into hydrogen and oxygen. Hydrogen is collected in the negative terminal and oxygen is collected in the positive terminal. Next one is electrolysis of brine. This brine is a concentrated solution of sodium chloride. By passing current through sodium chloride, that is aqueous solution of sodium chloride with water, on electrolysis it decomposed into chlorine gas as well as hydrogen gas along with the production of sodium hydroxide. This chlorine gas is collected in the positive terminal, and this is a very important reaction that to produce chlorine industrially, because chlorine gas has many uses. From the above two reactions, we infer that some chemical reaction proceed only by the passage of electricity. Hence, such reactions are called electrolysis or electrochemical reactions. You can watch the video for electrolysis of water as well as electrolysis of brine solution.
Electrolysis of water. If electricity is used for decomposing a substance, it is called electrolysis. When electricity is passed through acidic water, it decomposes into oxygen and hydrogen gases. But water is a bad conductor of electricity. Therefore, a little salt or a little alkali is added to water for easy conduction of electricity. Dissolve a little quantity of acid in water. Pour the solution in an apparatus as shown here. Fill 2 test tubes with solution and see that no air bubbles are present. Invert these test tubes over the iron nails. These are called electrodes. Connect these outer electrodes to the positive and negative terminals of a battery. You can see that gases are produced in the 2 test tubes. In this way, sending electricity through water and decomposing into oxygen and hydrogen is called electrolysis.
This lesson looks at what happens when brine undergoes electrolysis. You may need to look at our lesson What Happens in Electrolysis before going any further. The electrolysis of brine is an industrial process which is carried out on a large scale. but we can look at the process on a smaller scale in the laboratory. Brine is a saturated solution of sodium chloride. We don't want the electrodes to become part of this reaction, and so we use carbon electrodes. From the sodium chloride, we have positive sodium ions, Na+, and negative chloride ions, Cl-. And from the water, we have positive hydrogen ions, H+, and negative hydroxide ions, OH-. When the current flows, you will begin to see tiny bubbles of gas forming at each electrode. Both hydrogen and chlorine gas are formed. But can you work out which electrode? The chlorine is formed at the anode, that's the positive electrode. And the hydrogen is formed at the cathode, that's the negative electrode. Did you get it right? The electrolysis of brine has produced hydrogen, chlorine, and sodium hydroxide, and so we can write a summary equation. Concentrated sodium chloride solution plus water, when electrolyzed, gives sodium hydroxide solution, hydrogen gas, and chlorine gas. These products are very useful, and the electrolysis of brine is done on a much larger industrial scale. Chlorine is used to kill bacteria, and it is soluble in water. If you've ever visited a public swimming pool, then you'll be familiar with the smell of chlorinated water, and it's also used to sterilize water in the mains water supply.
Today's video, we have discussed some of the conditions required for the chemical reactions to happen. Rest of the conditions we will discuss in our next video. Thank you. Now you can do the assignment.